I'm with Tim Piesse from Crossway Baptist Church in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Great to see you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with
That's
us
great.
about discipleship.
Yeah.
You've been involved in disciple making for years now.
Yeah.
What have you learned in that time?
Yeah. Well, I've learned a few things. I think one of those things is that disciple making is simple, that anybody can do it anywhere, anytime.
Okay.
I think the other thing that I've learned is that the way Jesus made disciples, he always intended for you and me to be able to do. That his example was not just a model to his own disciples, but was an example to us. And I think,
Right.
and that can be really impactful in. Well, I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I think it can be. I can think it can be impactful if we learn those ways
Yes.
in our daily lives and with people, with our families as we seek to make disciples ourselves.
So, following the example of Jesus. That sounds so basic.
It does sound so basic, but often what we'll do is we'll overthink it, we'll over-engineer it,
Okay.
we'll think it takes a particular kind of person or temperament, we'll think we don't know enough or we're not good enough, but what we learn from Jesus is simple, repeatable, sustainable ways, simple insights, simple practices, because we want to become disciple makers and not just try harder to do the right thing.
To do church.
Absolutely.
Busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So some people say, oh, that's Jesus. Well, of course he could do that.
yeah.
What would you say to a person with that objection?
Well, I would say he is Jesus.
First of all.
The other thing I would say is this, that, well, my conviction is the way Jesus made disciples, he always intended for you and me to be able to do. And I find the words of Jesus himself, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I think they're for the disciples. I think that's for us too.
Okay.
Paul put it like this, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And he also said this, Jesus did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. He didn't make disciples by a special set of rules. He did it in such a way that his followers could follow his example, and so can we.
Okay. Sounds so simple. What fruit have you seen over the years in your disciple making?
Yes. So personally, I have been able to, as an introvert, I've discovered that I've learned how to disciple people towards faith. So for me, Jesus started with people who weren't Christians.
Yeah.
And so to be able to disciple people to faith, and so actually to have the joy of leading numbers of people to a faith in Jesus and to continue in that faith. In our church community, we've seen numbers, like literally hundreds of people come to Christ.
Wow.
And that's really been a fruit of our discipleship, our collective discipleship journey. And what we've also found is taking seriously the example and the words of Jesus has helped strengthen and develop and deepen our own discipleship and our own faith.
Brilliant. Hey, thanks so much for those comments.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.